So, honestly, I was content with not talking about Lilly Phillips. But a couple of people asked me to talk about Lilly Phillips, including one of my best good friends. He also asked me to open up the video with a quote, but I don't remember the quote, so I can't do that. To be quite honest with you, I don't really like making videos on trending topics, number one. And I also don't particularly want to make a video about Lilly Phillips, mostly because of what she was trying to do is reflected in everyone's commentary in and of itself. To start from the top, Lilly having sex with 100 men is the completed cycle of the sensationalization and the commercialization of sex and sexuality, particularly with beautiful women. Of course, we thought that was just found simply in pornography, and we thought, of course, that was just simply found in OnlyFans, again, which is just, a host for mostly pornography. But really what Lilly did was she went the extra mile of literally, in her own words, putting herself in a position to be run through. That's how she puts it.
I'm Lilly Phillips, and today I'm getting run through by 100 guys.
What concerns me greatly is the way people responded to Lilly, despite the fact that she is probably one of the worst people to ever be a people. One of them. I mean, of course, let's within reason, she's no Jeffrey Dahmer, okay, I understand that. She's no Ted Bloody Bundy. She's no Jeremy Meeks. But she is not really any person of which I genuinely feel sadness for because she cried on camera. No, the sadness I feel for Lilly goes out to everyone involved, but I also think that she, if I were to put her, say, as a villain, is much like Doom. Doom may have quite the sad backstory, his mother being trapped by a demon in the depths of hell, but he's still an asshole and he still needs to be punched in the face, now doesn't he? So, withstanding all of that, Lilly Phillips, I'm sure you guys know, she got like what? I saw a little clip, she got 200 million views, lots of people have talked about her. After she had sex with 100 dudes, she cried. Oh, and people interpret her tears, oh, baby. She cried just a little bit. All the repeated pounding of all of those dicks against her cervix might have cracked open her soul just a bit. And we saw just a little teeny tiny part of Lilly Phillips, recognizing that she turned herself into a prostitute.
It's not for the weak, girls. If I'm honest, it was hard. I don't know if I'd recommend it.
Why not?
I think if you're a different type of girl, it's very it's kind of like being a prostitute in a sense of it's just a different feeling. I don't know how to explain it,
It's not like just having sex with someone.
Yeah. Just one in, one out, it feels intense.
Like more intense than you thought it might.
Definitely.
Sorry. Okay. No, okay. Just take
yeah, 1 minute.
Now, technically, she wasn't. If I understand correctly, and this should say something in and of itself. If I understand correctly, none of the males actually had to pay her in order to have sex with her. They just had to be selected by her. Which should say something in and of itself. I'll point it out in a moment. So technically, she wasn't a prostitute. If I were to harbor a guess as to what she was attempting to articulate, because Lilly Phillips is a dumb person, and I don't say that because she did something incredibly stupid. I say that because she is legitimately a dumb person. She is sincerely an unintelligent human being who has only made it as far as she has made it because she has blonde hair and blue eyes, and she is sexually attractive. That is the only reason Lilly Phillips has made it this far in life, I guarantee you. Nay, I might even surmount or might even submit to the board that the reason why she's so dumb is because she's so beautiful. There might be something to this whole bimbo thing motherfuckers recognized back in the 90s. I don't know. So, Lilly Phillips does this post interview based on this documentary of her. And I would surmise that probably what she was attempting to articulate when she says she is kind of like prostitution is that at a certain point, if we are to look at this as adults, if you're a teenager, exit stage left. Or don't, I don't know, you're going to become an adult eventually. Let's at least attempt to have mature conversations about this. I would imagine that repeatedly having sex with multiple different strangers in and of itself is, I wonder what that sounds like in and of itself. I just wonder what word I could use for that one. Makes you a slut. Yeah, slut works. Slag, that's a British term. I wonder if there's something else that it is akin to. I don't know. I don't know what else. I don't know what other word we could possibly use there. All right, prostitute. In and of it, the action that she performed in and of itself is likened to prostitution, functionally. Is it literally? No, but functionally or in principle, it is the act of having, well, you can't say in principle because the definition is a woman that has sex for money. The act of having lots of sex with strangers, again, that more makes you a slut, or a slag. So, yeah. The fact that she was able to surmise to some degree that this was likened to prostitution is probably because at a certain point she probably really couldn't engage sexually anymore because she was probably really fucking tired. Okay, like she was probably worn out. You know, her body weak, energy drained, semen all in her eyes, as she says. She does say that at the end. Here you go.
So
Okay.
it's more just tired. My eyes sting like nothing else.
Why?
Because of all the cum in it.
So, to me, upon hearing that, I see why, if you only look at a clip of that, it's easy to interpret that we got a little peek into Lilly realizing the foolishness of her ways, and her then saying that she wants to have sex with 1,000 guys in one day, or a 24-hour period, is her doubling down on it. Except if I understand correctly from one interview, I think she was saying, or maybe we're going to talk about this a little more in a moment, with Candace Owens, it seems that the 100 guys a day was more a training test run to get to 1,000 in a 24-hour period, meaning that this was only a stepping stone from the beginning. That's kind of the thing. You know, lots of young men find promiscuous women gross and disgusting instead of sad and pathetic, which is really the way you should look at it. I'm not saying that you should man up and marry those sluts, but what I am saying is that your disgust is misplaced. I actually am not upset with women because they have high body counts. I merely realize the truth. And the truth is that the high body count is a reflection of a lack of ability to pair bond, not the cause of it. You see, most people are upset with the smoke, but never address the fire. The issue of a woman of having so much sex isn't insofar as multiple penises have entered her, and as such that's disgusting, although it can physically be disgusting, to be fair. Sex is quite the nasty act if you are not sexually turned on at the moment. The issue is that in order to have had sex with so many people to begin with, you must already have lost your ability to pair bond from go. Again, you don't become promiscuous and then lose your ability to pair bond. You are promiscuous because you don't have the ability to pair bond. Because if you did, you would not have any incentive to constantly go around and try to have sex with strangers. Lilly's entire thesis, if you can call it that, is another feminist version, and I don't even think she has the intelligence to recognize this, reclamation of sluts, slags, promiscuity in young women. She's trying to sensationalize the event or sensationalize the activity to such a degree that it brute forces the culture to accept that it is something that women can do. Now, of course, she says she doesn't suggest that any woman replicate this, but that's not typically how influence works. So, she could just be saying, check her bases, who bloody knows. The only problem with this is Lilly Phillips in this whole sexual thing kind of really more reflects the truth about women. And it reflects or highlights better than anyone ever could exactly why promiscuity in women is nothing to respect. Because only a woman could be this promiscuous, right? One of the great lies of the world that we young men grew up with is this one. One of the great lies of male sexuality is that men are the ones who are able to have sex without emotions. But what you come to realize are two really interesting things. One, women can do the same thing. If men can, and women can do it, and as we saw with Lilly Phillips. We saw to any male's 20 body count by the time while he's in a frat, to Lily's 100 males while she sensationalized this as a news story. Lilly did not pair bond with those 100 men. And yet, somehow, we look at the reflection of male sexuality, of which only the top males can do, reflected against female sexuality, which is hundreds of men at her beck and call, no matter what she looks like. Because, interestingly enough, 100 men didn't come to try to smash Lilly because she was the creme de la creme. It was because she was open and available for it. Which is pretty interesting in its own right, but I digress. The point that I'm making is that we saw reflected that it is a female, and it is overwhelmingly females, point two, that are actually able to actualize the ability to have sex without emotion, as they're the ones who are able to freely garner easy sexual access, and they're the ones who are able to dismiss most of the men that they don't want to be with. In fact, we see it on the Would Have a Podcast quite often. Women will say that they hooked up with some dude they didn't see long term just to get it over with. Interestingly enough, men are the ones that have to overinvest in the act of sexual reproduction. Females must receive. You know, it's interesting. Only a woman really could, by every stretch of the imagination, undergo attempting to have sex with 100 men. It's only a woman could even attempt it, right? Only a woman could easily obtain that many people of which to try to have sex with, and only a woman could physically undertake the action of having sex with 100 people. Why? Because in the nature of being a female, and one thing that's actually really interesting, I digress just a little bit, is how much what we do sexually is reflected outward and secondarily, which you'll see in a moment. Only a woman could perform the action of having so much sex because a woman just has to receive. Males, on the other hand, are the ones that have to engage physically. In the actual act of having sex, overwhelmingly, it is the male engaging and thrusting, quite literally, into the female. The female must receive the genetic material coming from the male. I tried to do this so that it's not so bloody nasty, but hopefully you guys understand the points being made here. The point that I'm making is that the act of having sex as a male, the act of acquiring sex as a male, is far more active by every stretch of the imagination, whereas a female's is far more passive. Again, only a woman could undertake such a thing because all she has to do is receive lots of dick. And that is why trying to reclaim the concept of a slut or slag is nonsensical stupidity. Because it's not special. Any woman could do it. They just don't want to. And ironically enough, most of the women don't want to, not because of virtue, chastity, character, wisdom, or healthy respect of the male species. No. It's because we're disgusting to them. It's not virtue, it's not kindness, it's not selflessness that prevents most women from having sex with 100 men, because they could, as some of them very rarely have, I mean very rarely, some of them have gone out of their way to go find virgins and to just be kind and sweet to them and take their virginity and be nice to them. Again, I've known all of maybe like all of 10 women, and even I've not known them personally, right? I mean, probably like 10 women in existence. I don't know. Overwhelmingly, that's not really how women relate to sex. And yet, despite the fact that women don't relate to sex as a kindness or a dispensary of which to give to males as a beautiful experience of intimacy, which is definitely not what they got with Lilly Phillips. Instead, they look at male sexuality as corruptive, nasty, disgusting, predatory even. In fact, look at the way even Candace Owens describes what happens to Lilly Phillips. In fact, in the interview that Candace has with Lilly, if you just listen to the way she wishes to describe this, she chooses words or phrases. She says phrases like this.
100 men in one day. And what they captured, in my view, is the real Lilly. Raw emotions, which would follow any person who is a human being who has just been used and defiled in this way by 100 men. Men that are signing up to her OnlyFans, that she's into it. And because she had this moment where she broke after slept with 100 guys, I just want to say, like, for the guys that are signing up, the 1,000 men that are signing up to sleep with her in 24 hours, like, I view you as sexual predators. Like, the mask slipped. And if you are signing up to do that, it's because you're a pervert. There's really there's nothing else to say. She's a young girl and she just wants money.
Baked into the way Candace is even interacting with the story, she views the males and even goes on to call both the director of the documentary a scumbag. She calls the males who would engage in having sex with Lilly, or one of the 1,000 males who wishes to engage with Lilly, scumbags. Somehow they are the evil corruptive force in this story. But oddly enough, who's the orchestrator of all of this? Who's the only person who could ever orchestrate all of this? Any female could, but it's Lilly Phillips. She's the lady of the hour, so to speak. Somehow, a woman can use 100 faceless men to sensationalize a story that goes out to millions of people. And after she used all of those men, wishes to go on to continue to use 1,000 men. And because it's a bunch of men having sex with her, the males are the ones that are disgusting. But Lilly is a victim of the patriarchy, I guess, maybe? I don't flippin' know what she's a victim of, if not her own goddamn stupidity. Let me show you an example. You guys think I'm kidding when I say Lilly Phillips is stupid. Let me just show you. Let me just give you a little taste of how stupid this woman is. Here you go.
So is it like this freedom that I have? I love the life that OnlyFans has given me, definitely. And that's not necessarily money.
What freedom has it given to you if it's not money, out of curiosity?
So to be able to work for myself, to be able to do something I love.
Working for yourself, meaning making, right?
Sorry?
Working for yourself as in being able to earn an income by yourself. And
No, so working for myself to be able to wake up and grab a coffee in the morning and not have to be in a desk at a 9 to 5. To be able to myself and, you know,
easy money.
make a living out of it, be able to support. So to be able to support myself, do something
Yeah,
that I
that's
love,
money. Just
and be able to
so you know, that's all. That's money you're talking about. Like, to be able to support yourself.
But I'm not just talking about like money. I'm talking about the freedom this lifestyle has given me.
Clearly, we're dealing with the tour de force of intelligence now, aren't we? Listen, one thing that really grinds my gears about this Lilly story is the fact that all of these men were robbed of a genuine, good sexual experience with a woman that loves and cares about them. But most people think males are so predatory and disgusting that they don't recognize when they're actually being abused. These men were 101 dildos for Lilly. In fact, in most pornography, males are but autonomous dildos to the female. Most porn focuses entirely on the woman. I would imagine that the real reason why men overwhelmingly look at visual pornography and women use use literary pornography is because most visual pornography is just entirely focused on the female. And as such, women not being, well, homosexuals overwhelmingly probably aren't going to be fond of engaging in that. It isn't that females aren't horny and kinky and have a whole bunch of different sexual desires. It's just that pornography can't tailor to them because it's such a huge focus on the woman. As such, being that huge focus as a camera and every stretch of the imagination, even interviewing the woman before they engage in the act itself, the male becomes a dildo. He exists only to stimulate the woman or to create friction there. He exists only as a stand-in. Oftentimes you look at what is called POV, point of view pornography, which is better to say first person point of view, but it's shorthand, you know, we're all intelligent adults here. What you will find in the filming of that, the male is completely removed and the only thing that's left is his penis. Most people don't consider it. Most people don't think about it. We view pornography simply as just being disgusting and nasty, but we don't view the fact that it truly objectifies males almost more than it quite ironically objectifies the female. Notice how we can have an OnlyFans, of which these people are fans of these women. These people have some parasocial relationship with the woman. These people have invested emotionally in these women. I do find it oh so very interesting how we objectify women so much that all of these niggas find some way to care about them emotionally. Fuck, how about that? One of the great lies of male sexuality, I say, is the idea that we men just have sex without emotion. Any person can have sex without emotion, and the people that oftentimes do have a bunch of sex without emotion, there's a word for them. Psychopath, sociopath, abuser, predator. Yeah, interesting. Oh, fun. How about that? Oh, yeah, there's words for that. You want to know the word I didn't use? Male. Because a woman can very well do the same thing. With Lilly Phillips, we saw a woman very well do the same thing. And only women can actualize their sexuality to such an extent to begin with. We see all of these men being sexually objectified by Lilly herself, but because Lilly, a beautiful white woman, sat there and cried on camera, because it looked like we finally got a peek into her soul, we conveniently forget that she sexually objectified 100 men and wishes to continue to sexually objectify 1,000 men. The whole thing from top to bottom is disgusting, and it is the complete cycle of how misused sex and sexuality is between men and women. I don't want to talk about this because I understand that Lilly's entire point in sensationalizing all of this is to be talked about, and I don't want to give it to her. But considering the fact that millions of other people have already discussed it, means dick and all. Most people probably aren't even going to watch this video here, right? It is from top to bottom. I find it interesting to even pretend that the 100 males could have been sexually objectifying her when they were all of her fans to begin with. All of them would have invested in her consistently and emotionally anyway. Like, even if it is just simply the fond memory of the greatest jerk-off they've had that week, that month, or, you know, their entire lives, the fact remains that she is attached to them spiritually. She is truly a succubus in that way. You know, she is, it's actually really interesting. You come and you think about these older stories. Part of the reason why I love using them, but I'm digressing. I won't go too far. I think this video's gone on a good amount of time. It's quite fascinating that these were all a bunch of her fans, and people truly believe that the act of simply inserting yourself inside of a woman is its own reward. Think about it. If these men weren't paid for their 5 minutes of having sex with Lilly, most people would say that their reward was they got to have sex with Lilly. They got to be number 2. They got to be number 25. One of them got to be number 33, and that was his reward. He got to put his penis inside of a woman after 32 other males have done so. All in the same bloody day. Quite the reward. You're there, all nasty and bloody disgusting as you come in as number 87. Lilly, weak and woozy like she's about to get hit with a fucking fatality. Your reward Here's your reward. You should be happy that you got to show up, number 87. And you got to bang out a woman that is just tired and weak and slumped over bloody hell. What a prize. Most people don't think about that. The whole thing is fucking nasty. And yet somehow, you know, we've got Mary here. I was watching Pearl Daily. We've got Mary here saying this.
By doing this stunt, she was begging someone, anyone, to stop her. And that's the most infuriating thing about this whole situation, is that nobody in Lily's life, be it a friend, a family member, any loved one, any staff member, even a follower of hers, nobody stopped her from doing this.
You know, she was begging for someone to stop her. Candace Owens calls the director of the documentary that the clip came from. She says this.
Be clear, this documentary maker, the guy next to her, I think his name is Josh Peters, absolute monster to be documenting that.
Even though he was visibly uncomfortable by the whole thing.
I wanted to take it and eat it. Well done, thanks for being my loser. Bye.
Maybe what we witnessed that night was just someone overwhelmed with emotion after completing such a monumental challenge. Or maybe we saw the true toll this career can have on a person.
You could see it in the entirety of the documentary. But he's a male around a beautiful female. Of course, he must be a predator. He must be faking it. He must be pretending. He must be a monster, a wolf in disguise. It's the only way a male could be around such a pretty woman for such a long period of time and not try to jump her bones. Right, Candace? That might not be what Candace says, but it is what she believes. That's what most people believe. Most people believe that because males pursue and are so thirsty for sex, that sex itself is enough of a prize. These males came from XYZ, only of which to simply ejaculate into this woman. And they themselves are so caught up in their own lust that they don't even realize that they were cheated out of actually having a beautiful sexual experience with the woman that actually cares about them. You know, we spend so much time bitching about Chad, bitching about high-value males, complaining about Tyrone's, Pookie, and Ray Ray, that we forget that there are numerous, all of which I'm certain were the 100 males that Lilly used. Yes, used. We forget that all of those men exist. Those men who are downtrodden, those men who are lonely, those men who again are used sexually by women, men who are used mentally and emotionally by women as an emotional tampon, men who are used by women as bloody dildos, men who are just tools to women. And it kind of disgusts me and grosses me out that part of the reason, and probably the entirety of the reason anyone gives a single solitary fuck about all of this, is because Lilly is a beautiful, stupid woman. And they try so goddamn hard, so fucking hard, to try to make her seem out to be the victim when really she's more of a perpetrator than any of the 100 men, of whom she robbed an actual well-meaning experience from. Think about this one for a second. Lilly wishes to have sex with 1,000 men, which calculates into her having sex every, I think Candace Owens said, 83, 86 seconds. So go ahead and correct me, Candace.
Every 86.4 seconds for 24 hours straight.
So somehow these males are supposed to just beat off into this woman's vagina and that's their prize for being number 587, number 423, number 789. Their prize is simply just putting their dick inside of a woman. I find it interesting that males elevate sex unto itself so high, but somehow we're the ones that have sex without emotion. I'll let you guys think about that one. I'll conclude the video with this. I don't feel bad for Lilly. I don't even like her. I think she's pretty, but she really is dumb and it annoys the shit out of me. I think that we're all a bunch of plumb damn fools for even giving her the attention. I understand the beautiful woman sensationalized 100 dicks, and people have such quite the disgust for promiscuous women for this reason and for that reason. I would encourage only this. Give peace unto complaining about fucking smoke and start focusing on the fires. Because the truth of the matter is, Lilly is not damaged by the 100 males she had sex with that day. She wasn't traumatized on camera that day. Lilly has already given up the ghost of her chastity, given up the ghost of her purity in any way, shape, or form you want to describe it. In fact, again, in Candace Owens' video where she talks to Lilly herself, Lilly already explains that she's been promiscuous.
Address though what she said. If someone offered you $50 million to never do this or to have never done this, would you have taken the 50 or would you still be like, no, it's something I want to do?
I've always said this. I did this as a hobby before I did it for work. So I was sleeping around and doing these stuff like that before I actually did OnlyFans. I was a lot more promiscuous off camera before I was on camera. And so no, I do this job because I love it so much. And
damage is already done. And that's the thing about women who are promiscuous. They already lost their ability to pair bond. They're not losing their ability to pair bond through promiscuity. That comes before everything else. This here is a gigantic raging against the machine that cannot be raged against. Lilly is trying to undertake the concept of being a slag or a slut and revitalize it, change it up, make it positive or whatever the fuck. Try to subvert it. Excuse me. The only problem is Lilly's entire show only proves and displays better than anyone ever fucking could why we can't respect a slut. Not only is that the musings of a damaged mind going around having sex with a bunch of people, but it's also a damaged mind that continues to hurt other people as well. Oh, that's right. Because as it turns out, simply being able to have sex with a woman is not enough of a prize in and of itself for a lot of young men. And it never should have ever been considered a prize unto itself to very many young men. But you niggas aren't ready for that bloody conversation yet, now are you? Anyway. Problem number 3, only a woman could ever be such a receptacle to so much sexuality, all just functionally and in principle of femininity, just the nature of being a female. And because it's so easy for women to do so, there is nothing about it that garners any degree of respect, because it's not hard, it's not challenging, she didn't overcome anything, and it doesn't prove a skill, and it doesn't prove proficiency in anything. And without that lack of proof of proficiency or that proof of concept or that proof or validation, it's hollow and it means nothing. It really means absolutely nothing. I'll leave you guys with this one final question, and it's going to really, hopefully, put everything into perspective. What exactly is the difference between having sex with one man and having sex with 100 men if you don't respect the concept of intimacy and sex to begin with? And if you stop and you think hard, you'll realize the answer to that question is this: there is no difference. So, with that being said, I certainly hope you guys got something out of today's video. I doubt it. But if you did, I don't know, man, go ahead and click the like button. Yeah, shoot, go ahead and click the subscribe button. I'll put it right there. Comment in the comment box below, and as always, you guys have yourselves a great day. I will see you cool cats soon. Adios.